Most people would have looked at that schedule and just said, this is craziness. This isn't even a TV schedule. Like, this, you guys are nuts. You've got days where you've got to do 7 and 8 pages of material, and you've got things blowing up. How do you think you're going to do this? So it really called on everything that everybody had. It called on all of the experiences that you had. And so I certainly had the sensation of hanging on by my fingernails every day. My concern early on was for Benicio. It was going to be, in a sense, harder on him than it is on me.
Usually movies, the actor comes in, does the master, then the two-shot, then the close-up, and you're warming up and you're working the scene into it. And by the time, they can have many choices. Here, you don't. So I was aware of his style, which is very fast. And so you concentrate harder. You always have an idea of what you could do with the character, and it's always kind of perfect, right? And then doing it is very different. When you're doing a character that actually lived, and there is some footage of Che, there's tons of photograph, and there's recordings of him. That idea becomes him, because it's already there and you've seen it, you can't help it, it goes into your brain so you can get lost in trying to play him if you try to just emulate him. So I learned that quickly.
He's got to perform in it. It's his face up there. He's playing Che. He has all the responsibility. He's been thinking about this for 7 years by the time we started shooting. I was concerned for him because I knew how quickly we were going to have to move and that we'd only have a couple of takes.
You can't be really picky about, wait a second, he used to pick up the coffee and with his finger like that, etc. Whatever things that you're taking from the person. And at some point you just have to make sure that you understand the scene. You kind of know when you do a Steven Soderbergh that that's the way he goes. That he goes very fast. And we were going even faster here because of the red cam.
And action!
Any setups that I might have lost by not having enough time, I probably picked up because we were shooting with the red, and that enabled us to move even faster.
Shadow. Oh, actually, wait, bring that up again?
It's kind of nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get it up to,
Just the telephone pole. Just get the telephone pole. There you go. That's good. Leave it there. Walk away.
I'd heard about the red for years. I'd kind of been tracking it. And then I got my hands on one and I shot my own test. And really felt like this was the future, and also this was what we needed for Che. Part of it was just how it responded to natural light. I just liked the way the sensor looked. It just had a quality that I thought was really unique. And it was a way to get a really high quality image with a really relatively small mobile camera. I thought it would increase the scale of the movie, in addition to saving us some money. But there was no guarantee that they were going to be ready. At one point, we were supposed to start July 18th, and I got a call from Jim Gennard at Red saying, we're not going to make July 18th. And then shortly after that, the shoot for a reason that had nothing to do with the Red, moved to July 25th. And Jim called and said, we might be able to make that. And the camera showed up on the 23rd. And yeah, they were downloading software the morning we started shooting. I mean, it was we went right up to the nose of not being able to shoot, but we got it.
Because of the red cam, his assistant would just download the card, he'd take it back to his hotel room, and he'd edit all night. And then get up again at 6 in the morning and shoot till, 7, 8 at night with the camera on his shoulder. And in this heat, I mean, it was insane.
I wasn't bothered by any of the sort of early things that had to be ironed out. You know, the fact that the heat sensor inside the camera was set lower than it should have been, so the cameras were heating up, and we had to ice them down for the first couple of weeks. None of that stuff bothered me because I was so happy with the images that I was getting. We started in the bottom of this ravine, and if we'd had to shuttle film gear and magazines up and down that hill all day, it would have affected my ability to get the setups that I needed. In 4.5 hours of film, there's probably 6 or 8 scenes where we used lights at the most. Very, very few.
All right, here we go. Lock it up. Quiet, please.
I see the boom. Thank you.
I've always wanted either a film stock or a camera that was sensitive enough to show us what life looks like. My goal is not to haul things off of the truck and start lighting. The camera's been improved drastically since then, but that was build number 1. And there is absolutely a quality to those images that I think are specific to that build and that are really beautiful. The first film almost felt like a traditional kind of Hollywood movie to me. There were 12 of them, and against all odds, they win the revolution. And I guess I really wanted that kind of traditional frame, that wide frame. You know, I kept thinking of these John Sturges movies, you know, Bad Day at Black Rock and The Great Escape, and how economical he was with his shooting style and how he composed in the frame. And I just really felt like it was appropriate to that.
Avión!
When we got to part 2, I felt that the taller frame and going handheld would create more of a sense of unease. I wanted you to have a sense that the outcome was not predetermined and that things could sort of derail at any moment.